All right, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at Elon Musk. He spoke at Trump's rally in Butler, PA. So I don't know how you wouldn't be aware, but if you're not aware of the situation, Butler, PA is the place where Trump's first, it's incredible that we have to say first, assassination attempt on his life took place. And that was that first rally where he got shot in the ear. Luckily the bullet just missed his head because he turned and all that stuff. But uh, he has returned to Butler, PA. I think it was on Saturday. Yeah, I think Saturday, this weekend. And Elon Musk actually joined him at his rally and spoke at his rally. So we're going to take a look at that. It's not a long video; it's less than 10 minutes, but I think it's significantly important. Elon Musk is probably the top three most influential people in America today in terms of private citizens, non-political, taking politicians out of the equation like Trump and Kamala Harris and Biden and people like that. It would probably be like Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and one other extremely significant person who has a big voice, who's very controversial, very popular, but he's got to be top three at best, most influential people today. So, for him to join forces with a political candidate on either side and endorse them and then speak to their audience is a significantly huge move towards Trump's campaign in the right direction of getting closer to winning the election. That would be like, Kamala Harris having the endorsement of Joe Rogan. It's that significant. If that were to happen, it's likely it would swing, you know, if not tens of thousands, maybe possibly hundreds of thousands of voters in her direction. That's why a lot of times these big politicians, especially when they're running for president, they want endorsements from people, but the higher up in terms of popularity, the better. And obviously, Elon Musk is a huge voice, and for him to endorse Trump, especially after he got the endorsement of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., um, Tulsi Gabbard, and several other people who are, very big voices in the political sphere. For him to get this endorsement and then for Elon Musk to speak at his rally is significant. It's going to move a lot of people in the direction of voting for Trump, especially people who are on the fence. Maybe even people who are in the tech industry who are a little bit more apolitical. They don't really, care about that stuff, but they do follow Elon Musk because they, followed him from his PayPal days and then Tesla and SpaceX. So this could really move the needle, for the Trump campaign with a lot of independent voters that were not sure which way they were going to vote. With this endorsement, it's huge. It's a huge, bonus to the Trump campaign. So let's see what Elon Musk has to say, and then we'll talk about it.
And he is a truly incredible guy. And I don't say that often. He's a great gentleman. He's done such an unbelievable job for North Carolina, for Georgia, for Alabama, for Florida, for Tennessee. His name is Elon Musk. He saved free speech. He created so many different great things. Where is he? Come on up here, Elon. He created the first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. Well, first of all, I want to say what an honor it is to be here. And, the true test of someone's character is how they behave under fire. And we had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot. Fight, fight, fight. blood coming down the face. Now, America is the home of the brave. And there's no truer test than courage under fire. So who do you want representing America? Yeah, absolutely. And I think this election, I think it's the most important election of our lifetime. This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California, where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. So how are you supposed to have a good, proper election if there's no ID? It's just meaningless. And free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if people don't know what's going on, if they don't know the truth, how can you make an informed vote? You must have free speech in order to have democracy. That's why it's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to ensure that we have the First Amendment. President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America. Yes. This is a must-win situation. Must win. So I have one ask for everyone in the audience, everyone who watches this video, everyone in the live stream. There's one request. It's very important. Register to vote. Okay, and get everyone you know, and everyone you don't know, drag them to register to vote. There's only 2 days left to register to vote in Georgia and Arizona, 48 hours. Like, text people now, now. And then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important. Nothing's more important. So get everyone you know. So I'm speaking to people out there. Everyone in the crowd, I think, is already convinced. But for people out there that are watching the video, watching the live stream, you need to get everyone you know, at work, your friends, family, text groups, your social media, everything. Get them to register to vote right now. Only 2 days left for Georgia and Arizona. Only a couple weeks left in Pennsylvania. And if they're not registered to vote, it doesn't matter at that point. Register to vote. I'm being repetitive for a reason, okay? So nothing is more important. And a lot of people think maybe their vote doesn't count. Well, it does, okay? It does. It matters. And this election could be decided by 1,000 votes, 500 votes. A tiny margin. So get everyone you know to register to vote. I believe that's swapthevote.com. I believe that's the site. And double check that your registration is good. Don't take it for granted. I'm just being repetitive about this point because it is the one takeaway more than anything that will matter is getting those registrations and then getting everyone you know to actually vote. That is what will decide this election, especially in Pennsylvania. So thank you, and honestly, you want to just be a pest, just be a pest. to everyone you know, people on the street, everywhere. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
All right. So first of all, I want to start by saying I find it really funny that he's wearing a shirt that says "Occupy Mars." Um, that's very Elon Musk, like with the blazer jacket over a t-shirt. That's something that's very powerful about Elon Musk, Donald Trump, people like that. They're always marketing. Elon Musk, one of his companies, SpaceX, their goal is to reach Mars and I guess create a civilization there on that planet. And no matter where he goes, like he sees an opportunity to market, he's going to. So he goes to a Trump rally with probably around 100,000 people, total, watching either inside or outside the facility, and then how many hundreds of thousands or millions at home watching. He takes an opportunity to wear a shirt that markets his agenda to get to Mars using his company. So something like that is so interesting to me. People like Trump, especially too, are always looking for opportunities to market. He's getting into the crypto space and things like that. They're just always looking for business opportunities and marketing opportunities. So I find that funny right out of the gate. But um, yeah, it's interesting to see because a lot of times billionaires, and at this point, I think Elon Musk is the number one richest person in the world. That number always fluctuates because, the economy is always changing and moving. And 1 minute your stock price could be at one point, next minute it could be down a little bit. You're still rich, but now you're number two on the list. But I'm pretty sure he's like number one still, richest person in the world. I don't think people understand the context of that. That would be like, um, maybe if this adds up, like Lincoln getting an endorsement from John D. Rockefeller or, you know, um, uh, Vanderbilt or one of the big, people during that time that were the richest person in the world endorsing them for president, that would hold so much weight. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people who are turned off by that because they hate rich people or they're, jealous of them for having money and them not having money. So maybe it would, deter and have the opposite effect where then now they won't vote for Trump because Elon Musk endorsed him. But for the most part, I think Elon's very likable too because he comes off as like, you know, this goofy guy at a frat party coming in, jumping up and down, trying to get the energy up. And, that was a smart move because it makes him likable. It makes the audience receive him in a way where they go, they think, I kind of want to hear what this guy has to say because his energy is high, and now I'm tuned in. He got my attention. Um, so I think his approach was great, but really what he had to say was more important than anything. Um, it's so true that this election is very polarizing. On one side, and at this point, it's clear. I don't think this is a secret anymore. Um, the people who are on the left are very vocal about what they believe. The people on the right are very vocal about what they believe. And there's only been like two times in history where the country's been this polarized during an election. And I wouldn't even say two. It's really, three. It's really, two total. Um, because the first election was really more America versus the British for independence. And, there were definitely people who didn't want, uh, Washington to be the first president, but enough people did that he did become the first president. And I think that was perfect for this nation because he set us up in the right direction. He also turned down a kingship. He could have been a king and, turned this country into a monarchy. Instead, they created the greatest, government governing system in the world with the constitutional republic. Um, but, really it was Lincoln's election and this one. Two most polarizing elections in American history. And we're about 250 years old. We're a little less. But in that many years, that's like one every 100 something years, you know? So this is epic. This is a historical moment. And I don't think a lot of people really grasp that. They're just looking at it from like an entertainment perspective, because we're such an entertainment culture today. that we're so used to seeing shock things, breaking news, this, whatever popular trend on the internet, that something catches our attention and it's a big thing, and then 5 minutes later something else is a big thing catches our attention. So our threshold for what's a really big deal has kind of gone sky high, and it's hard to attain that. It would have to be like aliens landing on Earth for people to be like, whoa, this is a big epic moment in history. But I don't think people really understand from like a cultural perspective and political. Um, this has only been this divided once before with the Civil War, Lincoln's election, the Civil War, and that devastated the country. I think like over 400,000 Americans died fighting each other to have this country go in either one direction or another. Now, this election, it feels a lot like that again. We didn't live during that time, so we really don't know, but we can go back and, read writings from people who did and stuff like that. And you can see the similarities. You can see there's definitely something there. This election feels like that. It feels like the precursor, I think, for a lot of people to a shift in America. Either we're going to go one way or the other. Now, back to what I was saying, it's clear that the left is decided, and this is what they believe. They are pushing socialism and communism in this country. This is what they want. And it's not even a secret anymore. It's just what they believe. And, it doesn't make them, the bad guys or bad people. It just makes them people who are for one way of governing over people who are for a different way of governing. The problem with that is they are for an antithetical way of governing that goes directly against our constitutional republic. It's the opposite. It's against everything that this country was founded on and that Americans believe in truly in their core. I mean, even the liberal Americans, people who are, more liberal minded, even in their core, they believe more in American values than they do in communist values. They just don't know that because they're so conditioned by the media and by, their sphere and things like that, that they don't realize that they really are Americans in their heart. They want freedom. They want the right to say what they want, free speech. They want the right to protect themselves if need be. They don't want these rights to be taken from them. They want the right to a fair trial if something happens with them legally. The right to literally one of your constitutional rights is the right to pursue happiness. Every American wants that. Even people who are liberals, everybody wants the right to be able to pursue happiness. Communism doesn't believe any of that stuff, including the happiness part. Communism does not believe that you have any rights. They believe that you are a product of the system, and the system controls you, and they decide what you can and cannot do. So it's so interesting to me that, people are promoting this, especially on the left, this ideology, this philosophy, this way of life that is antithetical to everything they know, everything they've been raised on, everything they grew up on, and everything that truly in their heart they know they want and believe in. But for some reason, they've been conditioned to go against their own beliefs, their own instincts, their own best judgment for what's best for them and their family. But yeah, so, people on the left, that's basically what they are, pushing is flat out socialism and communism. They want all these socialistic programs because they want their life to sort of be easy and coast. And that's not the reality of life, but that's also not what America was founded on. And there's a lot of socialistic programs that have actually crept their way into our nation that we live with every day, and we don't even question, but they're socialist programs like Social Security. It literally has social in the name. Social Security is not an American program. It's something that goes against American values. You have the right to pursue your own life, create your own wealth in this country, but you don't have the luxury of the government giving you that. And the Social Security program is not really what people think it is. It's not designed in a way where, I think people think that Social Security is you pay into this Social Security fund from your work wages. They take out a small amount every paycheck, and that goes into a bank account just for you. And then when you retire, that money is there to draw. That's not how Social Security works at all. And they'll sell you on, maybe it does work this way, or they put it into an investment fund, and then the fund yields a return, and then the money that you paid into it, pays you back. But that's not really how Social Security works. Social Security works more like the generation that's in the workforce now, that's working now, pays the generation that retired already. They pay their Social Security. It's a payback program, but they sell you on that it is a program where you pay into an account and then the account pays you back when you retire. That's not reality. And if it is, then the government should be able to back that up with all the bank accounts for each person's Social Security account, and be able to prove this through the Treasury Department. But they won't be able to, and they can't. They would never do that anyway. But Social Security is not the only thing. Unions are a socialistic program. Unions were really kind of, I mean, they were started before, but they were really made popular by Jimmy Hoffa, and they were kind of pushed by that culture back then, especially with mob ties and stuff like that, to create this network of control, and use that to strong arm, politicians and corporations into getting what those people wanted, because they wanted to have, domination. The mafia did. But that comes from Italy. Italy is a socialist country. They have been for a very, very long time. And, those ideas crept into American culture and we accepted them. Same thing with the pensions and stuff like that. Some of that stuff is nice. Some of that stuff, I'm not saying like a 401k, stuff like that. Those ideas can work. They can be good if you leave it open to the open market, the free market, to decide, the corporation and the employee to decide to agree to that together and go into it together. So I'm not saying it's all bad, and I'm not saying all of these things have not done some good in America. They have. There have been plenty of people who worked their whole life and then they retired and they lived off of Social Security, a pension, a 401k, whatever. And they were part of a union during the time they were working. So, and they lived a nice life. They bought a house, had a car, had family. So I'm not saying that these things are bad. I'm just saying that they're socialist programs that crept their way into American culture and were never part of the original ideas of Americanism. But back to what Elon Musk was saying, I think he's right. I think he's right in the sense that this is a hugely polarizing time in America, and this election is extremely important. Um, yes, everybody does need to get out and vote, because a couple things. If you don't vote and then the person that you didn't want to win wins, you have no right to complain. You can't say anything. You have to live with that person's politics for the next 4 years, or it could be 8 if it's Kamala. Um, you know, um, but also every vote does count, right? He just said it right there. The election could be won by 1,000 votes, 500 votes, whatever. I mean, probably not that low. It will probably be a few thousand, or at least, tens of thousands. But it's you may not think your vote counts until the election comes down to a very small amount of votes, and then you and that many people sat home thinking my vote's not going to count. But if you all got out and voted, you might have been able to turn the election over to the other person. So voting really does matter. And it's a right. We have a right to vote in the politicians that we want to govern our nation. That is part of our rights as Americans. But it's true. And, what he has to say about that is crucial. He is absolutely right in the sense that this could be the last election, you know? Um, and at this point, I think it's safe to say, um, it's clear one party in this country is fighting to keep American values alive and keep and restore the Constitution as the law of the land and keep this country a constitutional republic. One party is voting to finally take that last shred of it and tear it down, shred it apart, and throw it away. Say goodbye to what once was America. And it really could come down to this election. A lot of times they sell people on, oh, this is the most important election, because they're trying to sway people into thinking, this is it, get out and vote, and then that person gets in, and it's just the same old, same old. We had 4 years of Trump. We had 4 years of Biden and Kamala with Biden. So, we got a little bit of a sneak peek as to what she would be like as a president, because she held the role of vice president, which has many responsibilities and is kind of a good test run to see how they would be as a president. That's why a lot of times people take the vice presidency um, position, even though it's a second in command, and there's no guarantee that you're going to become president. And most, if you look at history, most vice presidents did not become the president. So it's less than a 50-50 chance. Um, but it's an opportunity for them to shine in a role adjacent to the president and then maybe have the opportunity to become president themselves. We got to see both parties be in politics for 4 consecutive years and see how they would run the economy. And it's so clear that one party, one person, Trump, um, when he ran the country, and I don't think people remember too, we came out of a recessionary period when Trump took office, right? The 2008 housing market crash in 2008, 2009. The economy bottomed in 2012, and then it finally came back up to a level point, not back to where it was in 2008, 7, 6, 5, but to a level point in 2015. It was still down. It was still a down economy. When Trump took that economy over, it went up from 2016, 2017, 2018, even 2016, when he didn't actually take office until January 2017. 2016, it started to come back up because people knew that he was going to be the president, right? Towards the end of the year, the economy started, bouncing back a little bit because they kind of got an idea as to who was the president going to be based on, the sentiment and just like the nation, not because of the polls. The polls were all saying he was going to lose, but the nation knew better. They were not as easily deceived. And the companies and every body involved in the economy knew, he's probably going to be president. So it started to bounce back in end of 2016. And then 2017, 18, 19, and all the way up to 2020, the economy was pretty much booming. People could go back and look at this and see. And then obviously COVID hit and it went down. But even during COVID, like the economy went down, but then it bounced back up and it skyrocketed. I mean, we all lived through it at this point, unless, if you're a little bit older today and you're not a brand new baby, you got to see 2021 all-time high home prices. The housing industry was booming. Um, you know, uh, Unbelievable amounts of development for apartment complexes and retail and industrial all across the country. And so many things going on in this nation. But you got to see 4 years of Trump transform the economy, pull us out of that recession, and explode the economy. And that was just 4 years. If he had another four followed right after that, who knows where the economy would be right now? But then you saw right when Biden took office, things start to taper off. And this is after we went through COVID, the economy went down and then it came back up. So it's not like you could say, oh, it's because of COVID. No, the economy came back up after COVID because Trump was still president. And then it stayed up for a little while. And then it came down with the Biden administration. And now people are living through extremely high inflation. Unemployment is rising. Foreclosures are increasing. There's so many recessionary markers that are showing we are headed downhill with this administration. And their policies show it too. Not to mention so many things going on with the border and all these, huge issues that Americans are concerned with. And you can see that this election is, like I said, very polarizing. But what's you're at sort of a crossroads. You're either going to vote for Trump and give this country another shot at redemption, even if you don't believe in everything he believes in or everything that he's promoting. You're either going to vote for him and give everything a chance to come back, the economy and stuff like that, and then hopefully, we keep that momentum going with whoever takes office after him, or we're going to go with we're basically going to say we are deciding America is done. We're done with that dream. No more American dream. We're going with socialism and communism in America by picking Kamala Harris. And that's it. That's going to be how we live going forward. We are now a socialist nation. So we're at this crossroads. And I think some people, think this election is just, oh, this guy versus that guy. And then the next time it'll be somebody else and it'll just be back and forth. No, this is a pretty big election. This is one of the biggest two of the United States history. And look what happened, during Lincoln's election period. They had a civil war the country got to the point where they were so tired of, things being a certain way. Each side wanted things to be one way, their way. And it got to the boiling point where they actually went to war and literally killed each other. I mean, brother against brother, father against son. Like, there was a lot of that going on, because it was just, which way is this nation going to go going forward? Are we going to go this direction, or are we going to go this direction? And one of them's going to win, but not both. And that's exactly what happened. We're at that crossroads too. If this election goes in one direction, not only will we either go back towards a fighting chance for this country, or go towards choosing socialism and communism as the new way of life in America permanently. And you could say goodbye to all your rights with that. So whatever you think you have the right to do now, you can kiss that stuff goodbye, no matter if you're Republican or Democrat. But also, this could lead to a civil war. This could lead to a breaking point where the American people decide, we didn't like who won either way, right? Trump or, Kamala, because there are many people who are liberal minded that want that life, that want socialism, communism, and if they don't get it, they're going to be retaliating. And we saw some of that stuff during Trump's administration as well. There were people who were fighting back on the ground against some of the stuff that he was doing, whether there was riots or things like that. And like I said, this could lead to civil unrest, and not just civil unrest, which is like a short-lived thing, but it literally could lead to a civil war. It could lead to a boiling point where the people decide, you want what you want, we want what we want. We both can't win, so let's duke it out until one of us wins. And that would be horrible for this nation, because we already lived through one civil war, and look at how many people had to die in order to, get the country onto a certain path, which, by the way, right after that, the country exploded. I mean, we had the Industrial Revolution, the economy boomed, and we, never were colonist type people anymore again. We became so much bigger than that. But who knows where this leads? I mean, if this civil war happens, it might not be like that again. It might not be where we roll into an industrial revolution and the economy booms and things are great. It could be devastation, chaos. It could be us starting over from scratch again because everything was destroyed. It could really look bad for the future of this nation. And, war is never really good. We don't want that. War is like a last resort. Like, we have no choice because this is survival. It's either, we go to war and we, fight to survive, or that's it. It's the end. So war is always a last resort, but this election could literally lead to that. So I agree with Elon when he says that this is probably the most important election because this could be the last election. And you know what? That may be true. I mean, if Kamala wins, they could literally suspend, the Constitution, cancel voting, and turn this nation into a dictatorship. And there's a lot of things in the Constitution and in our way of governing where we have checks and balances with the, different branches of government, that might not allow that as easily. But, when there's a dictatorship takeover, all bets are off and people start doing things that, go against the laws. But they don't care because they have the people and the power on their side. So they take advantage of that. So even if Congress tries to fight back, they may not be able to. The executive branch may conquer the other branches and say, no, this is how we're doing things now in the new America. So, I totally agree with him in that way. This is the most important election since the, Lincoln's election. I mean, at least 40 something years. This is really important, and it's going to decide the future of this nation either way, right? It's just one way is going to be a continuation of the American dream, and the other way is going to be a whole new, vision or dream of communism in this country. And we already got to a point where many of our rights are really no longer there. We're not even following the Constitution for a lot of different things, even though it's the law of the land. There are so many laws that are on the books that are null and void by default just because they contradict the Constitution. And we don't, have to technically listen to them, but we kind of do because people who are in charge would hold us accountable to those laws, even though they're illegal and they're null and void or unlawful rather. Um, but this this election could really decide the future of this nation, which way we're going to go, and that could change everything in your life, everything that you know and that you're comfortable with could change within a matter of months because one party won over the other. So, obviously, no one should tell anybody specifically who to vote for. But if you want to continue this American journey, I don't even really like the word experiment because it was never meant to be an experiment. It was meant to be a new way of life. Um, if you want to continue this American journey and you want to continue the American dream and following the Constitution and have the right of free speech, the right, to live your life the way you want without government interference, and the right to even pursue happiness, then you would vote for Trump. If you want socialism, communism, and I know people in my life that actually want that stuff. They rely on the government to, take care of them because that's what they believe in. If you want that life, vote for Kamala. Whatever life you want, you vote for. But whatever life you vote for is what you're going to get. And you will have to live with the consequences either way. So just make your decision wisely. Yeah, that's it. I really, it's interesting times that we're living in. And, I don't think people, some people do definitely do see that. And there are a lot of people on the internet that do see it because they talk about it. But there are a lot of people in everyday life that just kind of go on living their lives because they're trying to take care of their families and, they're just trying to get through the day to get to the next paycheck or whatever. And they don't really have, quote unquote, time for politics. But, you have to make time because politics will be a huge part of the deciding factors in your life, regardless of whether or not you like it or are into it. And you can't escape it. A lot of people, there are people on the internet that are chirping about just go off into the distance, go into the woods, take care of yourself and your family and leave the world behind. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work that way, right? There are plenty of people who do that now. There are communities of Amish people or Mennonites or different cultures of people that just, go off into the distance and live their lives in their communities and they try not to let the outside world affect them. But it still does, right? They ride their horse and buggies on the road and cars drive right past them, blowing fumes into their horse and their faces that they breathe in. They didn't want that. They didn't ask for it. That's why they choose a life without those automobiles in their life. But they are affected by it because you can't hide from the world. Life is still going to go on with or without you. And you either have to adapt to it and overcome certain things, or you will become crushed by it. But you can't hide from it forever. So if you think the solution is to just not vote, go off into the woods, get a little land, grow your own food, and homestead, that's only going to go so far because when communism takes over, they don't care if you have your own land and you grow your own food. They're going to take you over and they're going to control your life, whether you like it or not. So you can't run, you can't hide, especially you can't do that forever. You do have to be a part of this. Just, be a part of it. Make your decision and stand up for what you believe. Everybody has to have a hill that they're willing to die on. And, this election, it's big and it should be one of the hills in your life that you're willing to, die on, or at least, stand firmly on in, you know, hopes that you have a fighting chance. Because it's not just us that will be affected, but our children's children will be affected by the decisions that we make in this time. And you can't take that back. So they're going to have to live with it, and you're going to have to live with that. You had an opportunity to do something, but you didn't. Um, so that's it for this video. Really polarizing times. Elon Musk speaking, the richest man in the world speaking at Trump's, rally in Butler, PA, where they returned back to where he was shot. this whole crazy thing. This guy, attempted assassination, but he lived, and now he's back there again doing a second speech and all this crazy stuff. Um, we're living in epic times, biblical times, amazing times. But you have a voice, you have a chance, you have an opportunity to stand up for what you believe in. But you won't always have that opportunity. So take it in the moments where you have it, because it might not be there tomorrow. All right, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. All right, everybody, I want to take a moment to quickly show you my book, Little Boy Full of Love, and take a quick sneak peek on the inside. This is a little bit of a sneak peek into the book. It's a great children's book. I wrote it for my son. It's available right now on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Bookshop.org, a whole host of online websites. But more importantly for me, and more that I'm proud of, is it's available in a lot of physical bookstores throughout the nation. We're in about 15 or 16 different states right now, all up and down the East Coast, some in the Midwest, and going out west as well. I think we even have maybe one or two in California now. I'm not sure. But there are, many bookstores that are carrying the book. Check out my Instagram page to see the bookstores that are closest to you so that you can go and buy a physical copy in that bookstore and support a local business. But if you absolutely can't get it at a bookstore near you, or the ones that they're in are not near you, you can get it online. And the best place that we have it available is our Amazon storefront. That information is going to be in the show notes and my bio as well. You can get it on there, and you could also shop a lot of other products that we, actually use in our daily lives, stuff that we stand behind, and it's all organized there by category, so you can shop specifically by categories that interest you. But check out some of the stuff that we have on the Amazon storefront and the apparel shop as well. But that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one.